I teach the third year advanced tool and die making for TMA.
Are you actually a tool and die maker yourself?
Yes.
You actually get certification and
Yeah.
stuff like that?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that type of work?
A long time. Grew up, I learned tool and die making from my father. He had a small stamping shop on the west side of Chicago, and so my brother and I would work there after school in summers and so forth. So I'd say from about age 14 maybe on, I was working, running presses, and it was very small. It was all hand-feed operations, and sharpening dies and then building dies and so forth with my father. It was all pretty basic. And so in '82, I started teaching this class, the advanced tool and die making class, for
38 years ago?
Oh, you had to put it in those terms?
My goodness. Amazing. You've been teaching here for 38 years.
Yeah, not non-stop. I took some breaks in between there. And there were some times where there was no training going on because people hadn't hired apprentices. The part I like the best is every year to have, tool and die making it's a very small trade compared to others. And we tend to think of ourselves as this is all we do, everybody does the same thing. But that's not true. Within stamping, metal stamping, and tool and die making, there's a wide range of experiences. And what I found is that over the years that in a class, I'll have students, some students only work on flat parts, that's all they do. Others do very complex geometric shapes of drawn and formed shapes. Some students are working in a place where they only stamp very, very thin metal, like foil or very, very thin metal. And then I've had students in class who are stamping thicknesses up to 5/8 of an inch. Nothing, they said, I remember the one fella said nothing less than 3/8 of an inch thick. And the whole class just, their jaws dropped. What? I didn't even know you could stamp that. And they all bring in samples, they talk about what they're doing, and I learn something new every year. It's really been interesting. And that, being able to share that with the rest of the class is very good teaching tool as well. And so what I really like about this, I've always enjoyed math, so I like using a lot of math. I enjoy applying the math, and I also find that there's a pretty big creative element to it because the customers come up with parts that they want made out of sheet metal by metal stamping method. They're all different. There might be similarities, but they're all a little bit different. And each one requires a unique tool to create that part in mass production, which is what metal stamping is. And so most of our processes work from a coil. A big coil of steel comes through and the presses are just going up and down continuously. And every time the press opens, a little more material feeds through, goes through another station, until finally at the end, all the cutting and the piercing and the forming is done, and you find a finished part, or close to it, comes off the tool. So each tool it's unique. And we try to apply all our knowledge to it, but they still come and stump us, and it requires some planning to try to make sure you can foresee all the things that might go wrong. And that's part of the planning and designing process. So I've been building dies, I've designed dies, and it's always a challenge.